won a body in a shallow grave. That's what Choctaw County investigators found when they went to serve a search warrant in the northern part of the county this morning. WCBI's Bobby Martinez was at the scene and has more on the story.
It was this morning at this home here on Hebron Road in Choctaw County where Choctaw County Sheriff Department executed a search warrant. And inside this home, drugs, money, and a dead body inside a shallow grave were discovered. ATF also arrived to the scene for possible explosives inside this home. Now at this time, the identity of the body has yet to be released. And according to Sheriff Brandon Busby, no arrests have been made at this time, but numerous misdemeanor and felony charges are expected to be filed against a suspect connected to this incident. Sheriff Busby says they are continuing to gather more information as to exactly what happened inside this home. And as soon as more details become available, I'll make sure to pass that along to you. Reporting in Choctaw County, Bobby Martinez, WCBI News.
Choctaw County Coroner Keith Coleman tells WCBI the body has been sent to the state crime lab for official identification. In other news today, some cross-county cooperation leads to an arrest and a murder charge. Sheriff Eddie Hawkins says Dante Kirby is the suspect in the death of a man found 2 weeks ago on Burns Road in Lowndes County. Lorenzo Hawthorne Jr. of Columbus was shot to death. A passerby discovered his body. Kirby was stopped in Webster County by MHP. He was captured and originally charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The murder charge was added late yesterday. Sheriff Hawkins says getting a suspect in this case was a classic example of good police work.
This was a case that we didn't have a suspect identified. We started developing information and developed a person of interest. And working together and sharing information between agencies and divisions here at the Lowndes County Sheriff's Department, we were able to get information and actually obtain physical evidence linking this suspect to the crime.
Hawkins says the motive behind the gunfire is still under investigation. Investigators did say Kirby and the victim were friends. Kirby's bond was set at $500,000 this afternoon. A woman is charged with attempted murder in the shooting of a Noxubee County man. 27-year-old Geraldine Campbell is also facing an attempted robbery charge. She remains in the Noxubee County Jail. Bond is set at $100,000 for her. Noxubee County Sheriff Tommy Roby says deputies were called to a Grissom Road early Monday morning. Roby tells WCBI the victim was shot in the head. Deputies are still trying to determine what led to the gunfire. The victim is still in a Jackson hospital. A former priest at churches in Starkville and Macon has been indicted on wire fraud. Lennon Vargas is facing 10 counts of wire fraud in the Northern District Federal Court of Mississippi. In court documents, Vargas is accused of lying about a cancer diagnosis, using schemes to bilk money from people in the parish at St. Joseph's in Starkville. The affidavit also accuses Vargas of spending thousands of dollars in donated money for personal use. It states that Vargas does not and has never had cancer, but he is HIV positive. The document also states that Corpus Christi Catholic Church in Macon also donated more than $20,000 to Vargas under false pretense. 5 confidential informants worked with Homeland Security on the investigation. Thousands of dollars in donations for cancer treatment, an orphanage in Mexico, and a chapel in Mexico were allegedly transferred to Vargas. The investigation could not find proof of either the orphanage or chapel. Federal court documents allege the Catholic Diocese in Jackson was aware parishioners were being defrauded. The U.S. Attorney's Office and the Jackson Diocese have entered into a deferred prosecution deal. That means the diocese must fulfill certain requirements set out by the judge, or the criminal case against them will continue. A recent graduate of Shannon High School is killed in a one-car wreck. 19-year-old Jeremy Clippard died Wednesday afternoon when his vehicle ran off of a county road. The Lee County Sheriff's Department says Clippard's vehicle was heading east on County Road 300 when he lost control. The vehicle left the road and flipped. Clippard was pronounced dead at the scene. He was not wearing a seatbelt. Clippard played on the Red Raiders baseball team and was planning to join the U.S. Army. A Reform, Alabama man is killed in a Fayette County crash. 21-year-old Austin Oglesby was killed after the Dodge Ram he was driving hit a tree. The Alabama law enforcement agency says the vehicle was going at a high rate of speed while trying to go around a sharp curve and then hit a tree. Oglesby died at the scene. The accident happened on Highway 159.
Our weather today, pretty warm, pretty quiet. Our time lapse from downtown Tupelo today, we had some low clouds, some fog around this morning in spots, and then we broke that up and saw some partly cloudy conditions this afternoon. Currently 92 in Tupelo right now, a lot of sunshine, pretty muggy out there as well. Feels like 102, it feels like 100 in Columbus, feels like 102 in Winona, and we'll be in that same ballpark here going forward through the weekend into next week. Not really a lot of thunder shower activity today. We thought there'd be a little bit more, but in our area, we just couldn't get anything to perk on up here. But it will be a pretty quiet evening, pretty warm here, obviously going into the early evening hours. By 11 o'clock, upper 70s, but still around 80 in some spots. The wind will lighten up here, and we'll have lows down into the 70s again. Tomorrow, your Friday, somewhere in the mid-90s, it would appear. Slight chance for a few spotty storms. I'm back with that weekend forecast in just a few minutes.
Another record day for the number of COVID-19 cases and patients across Mississippi. The Mississippi State Department of Health is reporting 1,230 new cases today. 18 new deaths were also reported. That brings the state's death toll up to just over 1,300. The number of hospitalized patients also continues to climb, 1,117 now. 247 people are in intensive care, with 125 of those on ventilators. There are 130 long-term care facility outbreaks. In our area today, Lee County had the highest amount of new cases with 33. Pontotoc had 29, Lowndes 28, Monroe 22, and Chickasaw 18. Law enforcement are being put in a unique situation when it comes to patrolling their beat during a pandemic and balancing keeping themselves and their communities safe. Our Quentin Smith speaks with two sheriff's departments and has more on what it's like to police the community during this COVID-19 pandemic.
To protect and serve, those are the duties given to law enforcement officers. But Clay County Sheriff Eddie Scott says COVID-19 is making those responsibilities become challenging.
The officers are putting themselves at risk because the individual you're dealing with, you have no idea where they could be positive, could even have a stomach bug or a flu. We don't know. All we know is that, we've got a job to do and we've got to do it.
Scott says following CDC guidelines can be tough because their job requires them to be hands-on. He says his deputies are wearing masks and gloves whenever they respond to calls, but even with the extra gear, it can sometimes hinder them from doing their job.
The guidelines, the social distancing, the gloves, the mask, that's all guidelines for us, but in reality, it's not always going to pan out.
Despite their best efforts to practice safe habits, the sheriff says the virus has found its way inside the department.
A month ago, I had one of my deputies that tested positive, and then I just recently had 3 of my correctional officers in the jail that tested positive.
But it's not just the Clay County Sheriff's Department that's being impacted. If you head south, the Winston County Sheriff's Department is also facing similar issues.
We've had a few guards that test positive. They had to quarantine and be tested and all, and then we had some inmates.
Winston County Chief Deputy Keith Alexander says the pandemic is now forcing them to switch up the way they respond once they arrive on scene.
We had to go in a house, wear your mask and gloves. If it's anything possible, we try to get the victims to step outside to talk to us instead of going in their house, because we don't want to carry something into their house and contaminate them or infect them if we happen to have it.
Alexander says it's important to have all of these guidelines in place because he knows how difficult it'll be on the department if a deputy were to contract the virus.
We don't have 8 full-time officers, counting me and the sheriff. It does put a big burden on us. If someone gets sick and all, if it wasn't for our part-time help and our reserves, it'd be tough to handle it, but we would handle it.
With both departments being small, they say they would rely on help from neighboring counties to assist them should any of their deputies get the virus.
Construction begins on a career and technical education center for Lee County schools. We'll tell you what it can mean for the future of the region. We'll have that story coming up on WCBI News.
You're watching WCBI's News at 6 with Joey Barnes.
Welcome back, everyone. Educators break ground on a career and technical education center for Lee County schools. Ellie Martin tells us about the project and how its location can help build bridges between education and industry.
Planning for a career and technical education center under one roof for Lee County schools has been going on for years. Now work has started on the project that can have a big impact on the future of the entire region. The new facility means students won't have to travel to other districts for CTE classes. The 34,500 square foot building will have separate spaces for shop classes, regular classrooms, and a culinary program. It is centrally located from the district's 3 high schools and is in the Hive Industrial Park. That Community Development Foundation project is targeting advanced manufacturing industries to the site.
Once these industries start coming in, they can use our facility for training, come in and work with our students, and maybe provide opportunities for our students to get some hands-on training in their industries.
Lee County School Superintendent Coke McGee believes having a dedicated CTE center prepares students for the ever-changing and competitive workforce in the region.
Northeast Mississippi has provides tremendous opportunity for our students. We need to prepare them with the job skills training that they need. If they want to continue that job skills training at ICC or another technical school, we want to train them to go there as well. But if it's to the workforce, we want to make sure they're ready. We feel like that's part of our mission.
The $9 million project is funded primarily through a bond issue voters approved earlier this year. The state and county also chipped in. District 16 State Representative Ricky Thompson says the building will train students and help keep them in the area's workforce.
This is how we make sure that we have a stable community. This is make sure that we have the economic empowerment that when you stay in the community, you know that you'll be able to make it and survive and do better for your family.
Construction should take about a year. In Lee County, Ellie Martin, WCBI News.
The Career and Technical Education Center is the first building in the Hive Industrial Park. Well, it could be Thanksgiving before traffic is flowing normally again in downtown Columbus. Construction will begin Monday on a roundabout project at Main and 2nd Street. A city spokesman says work at the intersection is expected to continue until at least late November. Drivers exiting Highway 82 onto Main Street will be detoured to 2nd Avenue North and then onto 5th Street North. Well, if you're doing some construction work, you've had plenty of sunshine.
Ooh, the sunshine's good, the dry weather is good, but the heat, I don't know, being out there in the construction zone.
Makes for a long day.
A long day, pack the water, that's what you need. And if you're heading to the lakes tomorrow, water obviously is something you want to pack in the cooler along with the sunscreen. Mid-90s expected. Rain chances not 0, but pretty low going into the weekend. Full forecast is next.
WCBI First Alert AccuWeather Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
It's Thursday, but you know what? Essentially the weekend's here, right? Let's just forget about Friday and just jump right into that pool, right into the weekend. I guess some of us will have to be working on Friday, but the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, looking pretty good here. Can't rule out a stray storm. Most spots will remain dry. It looks like very hot, mid-90s. The heat index 100 to 110 degrees. So let's just carry on what we've been dealing with. Our time lapse from Vernon today at Durham's Pharmacy. Look at these friendly clouds coming on in from the southeast, moving back to the northwest away from our camera view right there. A pretty nice summer day for us and in Vernon right now. A lot of sunshine, 90 degrees here as we head on into our Thursday evening. Pretty warm out there. 89 in Louisville. We'll have this Skycam tour for you. Mostly sunny in Tupelo, 92 degrees. Still feeling like the 100s. And in Columbus, 91 degrees getting into the weekend. Our radar picture shows more concentrated rain and storms south and west of Jackson. Also here across western Tennessee, there was a big batch of storms producing some heavy rain and some gusty wind earlier. Just some residual showers here now and some cloud cover back to the northwest. So we really escaped the activity today. And as we get into the overnight hours, things should remain quiet. So as we get into tomorrow, more or less the same story here. No big changes. Some clouds, a few isolated showers or thunder showers. We'll just say a spotty shower storm possible, 20-30% coverage. That could be optimistic here. As we get into your Saturday, more or less the same story, a 20% chance of rain or less, and that will be the same story into your Sunday. I think higher odds of rain will return by the middle of next week. Tonight, mid to low 70s, going mainly clear here. Pretty quiet, pretty warm tomorrow. Back into the mid 90s. A spotty shower storm will remain possible. The heat advisories have been dropped for a little bit of the area, but a lot of these will be coming on back here. So we're not harping on the actual advisory. We are continuing to talk about the actual situation here. The heat index will likely be 100 to 105 plus through the weekend into next week. So you just need to stay cool, stay hydrated, check on your friends, your family, and don't forget about your pets. Keep them indoors. And if you go out for walks, do it early or late and on the grass, not on the concrete or the asphalt. So just be aware of that. Very warm is that concrete surface or the asphalt surface right now. Highs for the next 7 days, mid-90s expected. As we mentioned, there could be a few showers or storms around here over the next couple of days, but as we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week, slightly better odds here. This is our standard summer pattern for the Deep South, and this is what you can expect. Any storm that does happen to pop up this time of year will go away by early to mid-evening. Joey?
Alabama Week continues on the high school football tour. Stop number 25 previews Gordo when we come back.
WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
Alabama Week continues as we check in with the Gordo Green Wave. Head coach Ryan Lally leads a team that believes it has what it takes to finish the season with a state title. Gordo is stop number 25 on the high school football tour.
WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour is brought to you by Itawamba Community College, Cannon Ford of Starkville, Monroe County Farm Bureau, Max South Broadband, and the Bank of Vernon.
Business.
We try to treat this like it's a business.
Back to business for the Gordo Green Wave as they prepare for the 2020 season. Coming off an undefeated regular season and a third-round playoff exit, Gordo has its sights set on not only another region championship, but a state title.
I grew up here since I was in preschool, and ever since they've been winning, and we just try to keep that going and keep the same mentality and tradition going.
When you don't really get what you're trying to do the year before, it just makes you want to come and work even harder. And I feel like we all got that mindset this year.
Do bigger and better things than last year. We put that in the past. We just want to get back on the same track and have another undefeated season.
I think we got a big group of motivated guys, and we got some new guys coming in. I think everybody's on the same page. So you know, we have a really strong feeling that we can win it this year. So I think that that's going to be our main goal.
The Green Wave bring back a strong core of skill position players on the outside that the team has full faith in.
It's great to have the skilled players back. They're hard workers and they do their thing.
Getting some of our best guys back, it makes, you know, getting a year of experience under your belt, 2 years under your belt, it makes everything, you know, a lot better for us.
Leading the charge to spread the ball around to those guys is junior quarterback and field general Tanner Bailey.
Tanner, he's a great guy. He's great to be around. He definitely going to do big things this year, and offensive line definitely going to block for him.
Keeping Bailey upright will be an offensive line that will feature 4 new faces starting. But the team is confident that they have what it takes to dominate up front.
We always say whatever we're doing, it's going to be new faces all the time, but the standard never changes, and it doesn't change right now. We want to be the best that we can possibly be, and you know, try to dominate our space every single day.
Where we are now, I think that they're in a really good position. You know, I've got full faith in them. I think they've got full faith in me. And I think that's just how Gordo is. You know, everybody's got faith in each other. It's a brotherhood. It really is, and so I'm really excited to see what they'll do this year.
The Green Wave believe the chemistry they developed on and off the field is going to be key in their success.
The chemistry in the locker room, it's great. You know, we love on each other, and you know, but when we come out here, you know, we know it's business, but it's a great group, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Off the field, on the field, you know, we all hang out every day. We all grew up together.
Every time we call each other at night, just tell us what we got. We look at film, we watch film every night, so that's why we just keep on doing what we got to do.
All of Gordo's hard work will be on full display with the home opener against Oakman August 21st. With the Green Wave on the high school football tour, Chris Bolton, WCBI Sports.
WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour with Gordo High School is brought to you by Shop and Save and J. Sand Flooring Professionals.
Here's a look at the upcoming stops for the high school football tour after today. Stops number 26 through stops number 34. We'll finish up the weekend with Aliceville on Friday and Sulligent on Saturday for Alabama Week. For any stops you may have missed, you can check out our website at WCBI.com. That's it for sports. More for you when we come back.
Another very warm July day, mid-90s across most of Mississippi and Alabama tomorrow. A little bit cooler right along the Gulf Coast if you're going down there. But we can't rule out an isolated shower or storm here tomorrow. Pretty limited this weekend, though, so that bodes well for outdoor activities here. Just warm and steamy, Joey, as we go throughout the next week.
Just pick a good time to do those outdoor activities.
Yes, early or late, not necessarily at 1 p.m.
That's true. All right. Have a good night, everybody.